So Snow White was pretty cool.
You mean the one that just came out in theaters, right?
No, the one that came out 100 years ago.
Oh yeah, that one's amazing. I really like it.
Yeah, I sometimes forget just how good it is.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever say it's my favorite Disney animated movie of all time, but every time I watch it, it probably surprises me more than any of them.
Well, it's a perfect example of attention to detail. How they went like literally half the stuff they had to invent in order for it to work, and then they continued going out of the way to literally inject just ideas into every frame. Like every scene, they do something with it. They don't take shortcuts. They don't like take liberties. Every
Don't
time,
waste time.
yeah, they just every scene just oozes with personality, and it's great.
Yeah, like
Whether it be just be the backgrounds or just the ways like the characters move and stuff. It's it's awesome how I can keep looking at what is not the main focus, and there's still stuff. They didn't just like, okay, so this little thing sitting in the background, we're just gonna have that one animal do nothing. No, some like you'll just see an animal doing it, like or one of the dwarves or something, just like they're doing something in the background, and it's just fantastic.
yeah, like with every joke, I smiled, and with many of them, I laughed. It was
It's very timeless,
good.
actually. What do you think?
Yeah, I think one of the things I noticed was the movie has really good pacing as far as there's like I think you mentioned it before, something's always happening, but it also didn't feel like
Oversaturated.
yeah, that I wasn't being hit in the face with constant action or constant dialogue or constant anything. It was all very well balanced, and I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed listening to it. And I think one of my favorite scenes was when she's doing the Whistle While You Work song and she puts all these clothes on this deer. And as it walks out the door, it stumbles, but then catches itself. And the music has this ba-dum, 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 bum, bum, that matches with the deer's hooves. And I thought that was neat.
Yeah, the music's fantastic. Like as far as like the timelessness of it goes, I'd always said that like it was the music and kind of the way people talk that sort of was like, oh, this is an older kind of thing, but it's almost in a positive, or it is a positive, where you get to see this kind of echo of like the sound of a thing. It almost feels more like a live performance or an opera type thing rather than a like what movies were back then. Like movies in general were newer, and this was the first animated movie, so like everything it was doing was completely new.
Which is impressive in its own rights, and like the story behind the making of it is like equally as fascinating as what we actually get to see, because I don't know, it's just it's really cool how timeless it is, because I didn't realize that it was almost 100 years old. Like obviously for a while I knew it's been made in 1937 for a while now, but when I was like a kid and I watched it, I didn't really think it was that like I could tell it was one of the older ones, but I almost like put it at like around the beginning of like the Renaissance and stuff actually,
Yeah,
because it's there's barely like I guess maybe depending on like I remember seeing like an old VHS tape of one, and so I don't think that accurately represents how old it is, because it's like it was old VHS, so of course it looked a bit grainy and the sound quality wasn't as good. So, but it's like we watched yours on a DVD, and it sounded and looked amazing for the most part.
yeah. I think I'd always kind of thought it was somewhere around the same kind of time as like Cinderella or Fox and the Hound or something, kind of like 50s, 60s, 70s even. With the Renaissance being kind of a callback to that old sort of style that does add to the confusion in a sense, but it does just kind of show how important the style is. They're like, okay, what if we go back to basics, and they do the Little Mermaid, and you look at that, and aside from maybe some cultural references or the way people talk, it's like you can't really tell it was particularly made much differently than. So you know how like a lot of the animated movies, they're like animated musicals, but I think this one really embraces that. There's a lot of music and it all tells really integral sort of aspects of the story. It furthers it and it just sounds great. There's a lot of variety to it, like the difference
Would
between
you
the
say
dwarf
that
song.
this movie was basically came up with a template that other Disney movies follow?
In a way, I think it was just sort of reflecting the musicals of the time. You know, like were a lot more popular in those days. I think.
And it does show the strength that using a song to convey a message can be more effective than other methods. I'm not saying that you can't use other methods, but it really does show the strengths of music, which, adds to its enjoyability.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, which scene is your favorite?
That's very difficult because there is not really, and like again, I just enjoy the whole movie. Like, I guess it's because I can say, it's usually there's movies where it's like, they didn't really need this or they didn't really need that. In this one, I wouldn't say I can't really think of many scenes that I would say I didn't like. So it's very difficult to say what's my favorite. But I guess if I had to choose, I guess I just really like the whole Snow White and the dwarves dancing together and doing that little
The yodeling song?
the yodeling thing because
Yeah, with the duck guitar and flute. That was wonderful. They look like little animal instruments. I totally see what you're saying though. With
fish
the
flute.
it's just such a good example of the music and animation working together to make something really special. And then it's also just a really it's a nice wholesome moment in the movie as well that I enjoy.
Yeah, I can totally see how it's hard to pick a favorite scene because like you could have so many different scenes you like for different reasons, like the sort of sweet love song kind of stuff. The evil queen just eats the scenery and is incredibly enjoyable. I think for me though, I kind of agree with you in the sense that I think the dwarves are sort of the standout star. Their introduction in the mine, and then I think my favorite scene would probably be, if I had to pick one, it would be the sequence of them finding out that someone's in their house and their sort of shenanigans of sneaking in, sending Dopey up, and
The
just
birds just
yeah, the whole
just like, these guys are
we're gonna
Let's just mess
mess
with them.
with these people.
it's so funny. Everything happens. It's just hilarious, and you just see the little details like the lighting of the candle being moved through the door and across the stairs. It just that kind of stuff, hand drawn, no computers. Computers didn't even exist. Just like the whole sheer artistry of having to figure out how that is going to look and make it look convincing.
It would have been
It's
super
beautiful.
cool to see how they figured it out because I'm guessing that they might have been like, okay, so if we're moving a light source like this, what would that look like? Straight up just doing shadow puppets against the wall to, just for a reference to see how they would draw shadows.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they were doing rotoscoping that early, but like just filming somebody doing it and then drawing over it as part of a process. This might have been even before that, I think.
Yeah,
know
as I
that
said, it would be
was-
super interesting to go into it and figure it out, but impressive, no doubt.
Impressive.
Because again, it's just that attention to detail that, again, if you look at certain scenes, they could have gotten away. Like it would have been fine, in fact, if they did less, but they decided to do again. They had an idea and they did, and they did what they wanted to. They weren't just like, this is good enough. Let's just continue to the next scene. Because there's that funny story of how basically, I think it was one of the animators did for one scene midway through the movie where Dopey did this little double step to get in time with the other dwarves, and Disney, he liked it so much that he had them go back to all the other dwarf scenes so that Dopey did that same kind of thing. And so it was like they had this really great idea, but it was already partway through, but they decided to go through the extra effort of making sure it was a consistent thing throughout the movie. It was like, you didn't have to do that, but you did. It was impressive. And it's just a really special movie that one can look at and learn many things from.
Yeah, it really does take advantage of that fairy tale inspiration being this morality tale. Um, like you said, the messages you can get from it, you can get so much. You can admire the artistry of it. You can admire the elements of like kindness and being a good person. You can see sort of the folly of vanity and the where it ends up leading you. Like I think the evil queen, her line is like, "Who's the fairest of them all?" She says that, or not necessarily who's the fairest of them all. She says, "Then I'll be the fairest of them all," more times as the hag than when she before she transformed herself. And so it's just the juxtaposition of this kind of intentionally made horrifying monster saying I'm going to be the most beautiful thing ever. It really, like, it's not funny, it's that sort of,
It's ironic.
yeah, having the two things together, that juxtaposition is just amazing. And she meets her end, and the evil vultures, which they almost seem like they're from another universe, but like they're just like they don't say anything, they just, their motion, you can tell exactly what they're thinking. And as they're just the fluidity of their necks and their jagged eyeball like
Also
highlights.
Their permanent sneer.
Oh god,
just
yeah, they are
smiling maliciously.
Yeah,
the
they're
entire time.
when we watched it, what do we say? They would be lawful evil or something.
Yeah,
Where
they're
it's
not
like-
gonna kill nobody, but they'll eat you once you're dead.
And I guess, and it was very interesting how they're following the evil queen to the house, and they're like, oh no, that's because someone's going to die, and then, but then they keep following her, where it's like, oh, so they're not sticking around. But I guess it's because Snow White isn't dead; she's just in a
Sleeping dead.
a sleeping death. So it's very interesting how it's like they're like, oh, she ain't dead, but someone's about to be, because there's a bunch of angry dwarves chasing after her.
Buried alive.
She was probably buried alive under, well, she probably died from the fall and got smashed by a
what?
rock.
That was the thing I wanted to point out. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but when the lightning hits the rock and like it crumbles away, there's that sort of thing in animation where you can almost tell what object is about to move, because
Yeah.
it's like a slightly different color.
Oh yeah, it's different from the background.
Yeah, it didn't look like that. It looked like it was crumbling away. There was no indication of which individual pieces would fall apart, and so it's the added sort of detail thing where everything is so seamlessly sort of put there that you can't just see what's going to happen, if that makes sense. And I don't know if that's, I feel like I saw that, but if it's not, then yeah, just disregard that.
I don't remember really any, yeah, like that part. I think with the rock and everything was like drawn in the foreground.
Well, yeah, the rock,
So
but
since-
like the ledge part. That
Well,
she's
since she was
standing
interacting with the ledge by stepping on it and stuff, they typically do also draw that. It also is slightly differently made,
on. Yeah,
at
well,
least
whatever it
compared
was, it
to
looked
the
great.
background.
Yeah, so as far as we don't really have a favorite scene because there are so many scenes we like, is there anything we would change about this story?
So one thing that I thought was a little odd was when the birds and animals go try to get the dwarves after Snow White is being interacted with by the evil queen in disguise. They don't seem to, like, they're like, no, get away, and they're like kind of fighting them off, and like that goes on for a while, and then eventually out of nowhere, without really a whole lot of context, Sleepy's just like, whoa, what if Snow White's in danger? It's like,
You just thought of that?
yeah, I think that was it was either it happened too late or it just seemed to have come out of nowhere. I wish there was some kind of way that maybe one of them mimed it out, or like the animals, or maybe they just instantly are like, oh no, these animals they hang around Snow White. We
And what are they
gotta
doing
help,
here?
kind of thing.
Or is like the birds could have like drawn something in the dirt and stuff, since or they could have written something, because remember, we do see a bird spell out Grumpy's name with the pie dough.
Those are literate birds indeed.
So
But yeah, that's the small thing I have. I don't mind it. I just remember. when
I
we
guess
watched
the
it, that's
washing
that's me.
scene is very long.
That's one of my favorites. What
I
are you
know,
talking about?
but that's what I'm
It's
saying.
so
It's like
much fun.
it's so much fun, but also it is like I guess it's one of the very few examples of something that could have been shortened and maybe more could have gone into another scene. Because again, it's like overall, it's not very important to the story.
Just its artistry.
I guess, but it's just you have to straight up like a full 2 minutes of just dopey making
Don't
fight.
be. No, this is the cleaning scene.
With the bubbles, you mean? No, when they
No,
wash
when
their
he's-
hands.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about where Snow White
No,
is cleaning
oh, no.
house.
So that
Sorry.
scene, I don't think that scene was too long.
It
So,
does
but
go long
the
too, but it
dwarfs
doesn't
washing.
feel long. That's the thing.
No,
None
no.
of it
So
feels long.
yeah, it didn't like so like in the moment it's fine, right? But I'm just saying. So if basically someone was like, okay, so if you had to take something away from the movie so that we could give some time to another thing, like I think you said earlier that the prince doesn't get a lot of characterization, which could have which is one of the few things the movie could have done.
Out of any differences, I don't think it is a problem. I think he is perfectly fine, and I believe that he loves Snow White and that she loves him. I believe in love at first sight in fairy tales. That is fine, people.
That's the point of fairy
Yeah,
tales.
you know, they could have solved that really easily, not even with animating it. They could have added, like, a little text sort of scene where, like, because they have that several
That
times
is
in the
true,
movie, and they
yeah.
could have had, like, the prince and Snow White, like, they knew each other, but she didn't like, or she was uncomfortable with him seeing her in the rags and stuff, and so she kind of tried to hide from that. Sounds awful. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of sets it up so it's like, it's not, he's just like an unknown person. It's like they know each other, they like each other, but she is self-conscious of her servant dress.
Maybe,
thing.
yeah, something like that. But
Yeah, like either that, but yeah, it's just for like 2 minutes. Dopey is fighting the soap, and
yeah.
eventually accidentally eats it and stuff.
and it's
so
resolved,
funny, though.
Like, but
actually.
again, it's such a wonderful piece of artistry. Like, again, it's just the way the bubbles move and interact with him. Like, you know, especially when he hiccups so much that that he falls to the ground, and and so his like hood and stuff is like up above his head, and his hat falls on top, right? And then the bubble just pushes it up. It's just like it looks so freaking good.
Clearly a visual metaphor.
Ah.
Probably wait.
What?
No, what?
An airhead.
Ah.
Oh, I guess.
It's a beautiful movie. I just
wouldn't
love seeing
change
it.
it if I could.
But so with that in mind, it'll be really interesting to now almost immediately watch the new one, which is what we're going to do today.
Yep. 90 years difference is gonna be interesting. I've heard a lot about it, but it's always nice to have some first-hand experience with something.
So sadly, I've already heard enough about it to know how it is different, but it will be interesting to see how it is different for myself. But it's like, sadly, I cannot say, 90 years later, things usually improve, over time, right? We learn, we learn from the past, we gather, information and stuff. So therefore, technically, someone should be able to improve an old thing, right? With the capabilities of
Cinderella
new
remake
stuff.
Wasn't horrible, so maybe it'll be
We
like
shall
Cinderella.
see. We shall see. Mashed potatoes that are rotten.
I don't think I've laughed more in a movie theater. And the laughter sure echoed because we were the only two in the movie theater.
Oh yeah, we went in there and
Really?
yep, the only other people that showed up walked into the wrong room and left.
Yeah, halfway through the movie.
Yeah, it was really funny. These people are just like, did they really buy tickets to Snow White? And they're like, oh wait a minute, this isn't the right one. And then they quickly went out.
They freaking walked in like the second, like the king of the bandits jumped in front of Snow White and got shot. It was like, what? Oh,
Okay,
dear.
so
I wasn't there. So
oh
I don't
okay,
know.
so you know how people used to spend hundreds of dollars to rent an entire theater to themselves? Well,
Yeah.
now you can do it for the low price of an average ticket
To Snow White.
to Snow White.
Minus the Seven Dwarfs. Plus whatever the heck those things were.
Oh my gosh, the dwarves were so bad. They weren't even dwarves; they were just CGI monsters.
Well, Grumpy, his head was just not right. They all looked weird, but Grumpy's body did not match the head in, like, even the shadow of a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So could you start at the beginning?
Okay, so I guess we should first state that so it's really interesting how, like, you can tell that they based it off of the original one, right? But it is so different that it might as well not be based off of it.
But they had the exact same book, but it had a hedgehog on it that opened the
Oh,
book.
this stupid hedgehog! They were just rolling around. It looked so bad. The CGI, the animals, they look almost like AI.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, they're not just CGI animals. They
Um,
look like AI animals, and it's like, I mean,
Look, like here's a squirrel, right? And then there's another. Oh, here's the stupid hedgehog. I know it's a bit blurry, but. But yeah, so the movie starts, with the book, and the hedgehog's just laying on it, and the little forest animals, they go running around, and it's the forest animals that open the book, and then you get this voiceover. The original didn't have a voiceover. You had to use your own eyes, but I guess it was so blind people can watch this or something.
I couldn't tell who was reading it, right? I'm just like, is that Snow White? Is that the evil queen? Is that, what is it?
Well,
Just a generic-
it was
You don't know
some
who-
guy, right?
It was an
It is-
indistinct guy
How did you
voice.
think it was Snow White then?
Well,
It's a guy.
I don't know.
It was a bit.
I was confused.
The
It
voice
was
is
an indistinct
effeminate.
voice.
It's a
However,
feminine voice.
should we save the spoiler for who it is at the end?
Maybe. But anyway, so the book opened. So then you get that, and we get an extra 20 minutes before the start of the cartoon did, where we get this whole backstory of there was this king and queen, and she was wonderful and everything, and then the queen died, and everything was sad. But then
But
this
before
other
she
queen
died,
showed
there
up.
was the one good musical scene, like
Well,
everyone was dancing around
I guess
and being happy and
it's
whatever.
I consider it good because compared to everything else, it is like I would say it was average.
This one was colorful until Gal Gadot sucked all the
okay.
color out of everything.
Oh yeah, so basically, they think everyone watching it are babies, and that they can't understand people's moods unless they actually changed the color scale. They just grade everything, and there were constant storm clouds in the air. Apparently, when the evil queen took over, there were just constant storm clouds, right?
So sort of like a Lion King thing when Scar becomes leader of the Pride. It just
Kind
becomes
of,
a
but
tribe.
if Scar had a cave full of potatoes,
Yes.
she hoards all the potatoes and the food.
She hoards everything, not just the jewels and stuff. She hoards all the food for
Not just the
some
jewels,
reason.
but the
Oh,
food
so there's a scene.
and the clothing.
I think we should just skip around just because it'd be easier. So there's this random scene where the queen and Snow White are talking, right? And the queen is like, I think she's eating crab legs or something because she keeps
Yeah.
breaking something with her hands.
You can't
but
see the crab
you can't,
leg.
You can't. Like, I'm
It
not
just
even
looks
sure
like-
she actually had anything. If that was just a sound effect they added, like,
It just
did
looked like
she?
her hands were cracking.
She just did
It
this
was
like
so
crap.
weird.
She just did this breaking motion with her hands, and
But
yeah,
she's not holding anything?
So,
it didn't look either. Like, so she does it like what, twice or three
yeah,
times
2 or
during the
3
scene,
times, yeah.
and during one of them, it straight up looks like she's not holding anything. She just does this with her hands. She just does a crack motion with her hands,
Sad.
and yeah, it's like, wait, are they trying to be like the steward of Gondor, who's like, and I don't care about things. Watch as I eat and don't care.
Yeah.
Well, actually, she doesn't eat.
She just cracks.
She just
invisible
breaks crab legs.
So Gal Gadot has like the craziest expressions like all the time, like all these weird wild
she is
expressions
trying-
versus
I'm not sure
Snow
who was
White, who has,
directing her.
nothing.
Well, yeah, it's like basically Snow White. She was going duh most of the time, right?
Oh, that's
So poor her. At least her singing's all right. I'll give her that. Her singing wasn't terrible.
Oh no, her one emotional outburst, right? So the huntsman tries to kill her, and she's like, and then she
Wah.
runs into the woods, and she's like, a giant tree like tries to eat her, and she's like, and then she falls through the ground and into water and gets swept away into a current of a river that has no current and goes. And then she sees this demon deer appear and doesn't.
Well, so you see like orange glowing eyes, and you
Yes.
hear like this, and they have this stupid growling noise for a second. It's like,
Little
ooh, like I
It's
guess
a
they.
panther.
I'm
from
leading
the
up to it, I'm
Amazon.
leading up to it.
Actually, wait. Panthers are panthers in South America?
Well, this takes place in Germany.
I know, but
supposedly.
I said the line. And now
Mountain
I realize
lion.
I might be incorrect.
Anyway, but yeah, it's
So,
just
no,
this.
no, no. The thing is that
She has no emotion at all.
no. The emotional outburst though is when Dopey gets locked in the room with her, and then uncovers her face, and
She wakes up.
It turns away from her to show to him, and you hear a scream,
You hear a
an off-screen scream that's like an actual scream. It's like, so you didn't scream at all the life-threatening men and monsters and demon deers trying to kill you.
And the way the guy does it too, he takes out the knife and like points it at her. Like he doesn't even have a stabbing motion. He's just like pointing it, and he's just like walking towards her, and he's acting scared, right?
So instead of dun 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 dun. It's more like dun, 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 dun.
It's like a. I'm gonna stab you now.
I think the dopey
no.
scream was ADR. I
Well-
don't think she actually screamed.
Yeah, we did. You don't actually see her scream, so
It is her scream then?
I don't know.
I don't know. We don't see her. We don't see it.
Okay.
So it could have been ADR because they needed. They realized that she has. Oh my gosh. Before I forget. Basically, so all the songs are completely different, right? They don't even try to be similar to the original songs.
Is that bad?
Well, it's good in the way that it keeps the originals preserved, right? But it's bad because basically any songs that basically any song they did take from the original, right? They like Broadway-wise it. Where
Is that where the
it's
whistle while you work is
yes,
that?
the whistle while you work is.
Whistle while you work.
I got like a little video. Let me show you.
Wait, can you show
Yes, I can show you. Okay, don't worry about it.
Also, just so you know, I have no idea what is going on.
Okay. Wait, what?
I did not watch this with you.
Yes, that's why I
You
got.
are not explaining it to me at all.
That's okay.
Okay.
Well, it's just
We'll watch
so,
it
so
later,
basically,
it's
well,
fine.
that's the problem is that the pacing is all over the place. At times, it's like moving kind of fast, and then other times, it's dragging on, and I just want to stab something repeatedly. I feel stabby watching this movie,
Oh no.
and
Watch out for a dwarf to shoot it with a crossbow, though.
oh my gosh, that's the only thing they set up. I guess it doesn't make sense
No.
anyway. But you, like, look. Yeah. Yeah, it's like so basically they take these tiny little bits and like it's like, oh, I know that this was a song that came from, I recognize the tune. If you only gave me the tune, if you were like da 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 da, I'd be like, oh, that's a good song. But then they turn around and they're like, oh, actually it sucks.
So I really didn't like
all the
that.
songs suck.
So she gets up out of the water, right? The deer appears and stuff, and then she doesn't say anything to the animals. She's just kind of staring blankly at them, and the animals just sort of like gather
Stare at her
around
either.
And then they start leading her towards the thing without
Yeah,
her
the
asking for
deer
help or
just
doing
randomly
anything.
like basically the deer looks at her, looks behind it, looks back at her, and blinks.
Yep, and then they
And
just
because
walk
I have
through
a
the
brain,
woods.
I was able to be like, oh, is this what they're doing now instead of her actually talking to them?
Yep, and then they
Yes.
go to the little house, don't say anything. Break into the little house, don't say anything. The little house is near spotless clean. It doesn't look dirty at all.
Oh.
And then she just climbs up into the thing and falls straight asleep in the middle of the day.
Oh yes, there's sunlight streaming through the windows, and she just conks out to sleep because I guess she was tired from the walk, or well, I guess the whole going through the woods and falling down and being rushed through a river, that I would want to take a nap after that.
I don't know. It
But
didn't
then you
make
think
sense.
about the cartoon, and it's like, so not only did she go through all that, she also cleaned the whole house before she even before she.
But
Oh,
also,
oh,
Well,
and
she cleaned and she prepared a whole meal before taking a nap. Again, there's
Well,
there's
she doesn't
no
say anything and she
dialogue or
can't emote
anything.
at all, and so
no.
like you can't tell what she's thinking. She's just like blindly following these creatures, and then falls asleep.
And the
on
creatures
beds
are
that
as
already pushed
deadpan
together.
stared as she is.
I don't know, that squirrel looked like it was trying to do something.
Yeah, so you know how we talked
Oh.
about our favorite scenes in the animated one?
Yeah.
Both of ours got butchered. So mine, the dwarfs sort of like walk in and like they don't do any amusing, wonderful things. They're just
No,
like,
so they just walk. So they're just
oh
like.
my goodness, there's something in our beds. Wow. And
Yeah,
then
so they
Goofy
just walk
gets
into the
locked
house
in.
like normal because since she didn't do anything, they didn't notice anything awry. There was no.
I could have swore one of them said like, "Oh, I love this dust" or something.
Yeah,
Like,
they said something about oh, dust is here as it should be or something like that. I was like,
Look at
Okay,
that.
I guess
Were
it's
you
like-
expecting it not to be.
well, it's
Yeah,
just the
it
house
wasn't-
doesn't get messy until the next morning in the movie.
Wait, so.
So
is
so
it the
basically,
next morning
yeah.
when
So
they discover it?
basically, well, no. So they get home for the night, right? After all their mining and their stupid hand glowy crap.
Oh, what does that mean?
Okay, so so dwarves, these dwarves have a special power. They can make their hands glow,
Okay.
and then they can touch the ground, and it shows them where all the expensive jewels are, I
And by
guess.
shows them where all the expensive jewels are, just makes this
It makes a CGI
sludge
mess.
everywhere. It just
Oh,
like
no.
like the entire mine was just covered with glowing nonsense. It looked like Guardians of the Galaxy put into a blender with like My Little Pony.
Oh, good.
And then it was thrown up all over a light bulb
Oh.
and disco lights. Like
Oh, no.
it was. I was getting a headache looking
Oh,
at
and
it.
we saw the creature's mouth when it was going through the tunnel, and it like
Oh, the
blew
door.
into his face.
Oh
and
yeah,
he,
so
like,
I'm
Oh,
guessing they're
that's
trying.
why
100% real.
Yeah, because so basically for some reason these dwarves, instead of just having a very simple track and a cart that they
Do you
just
have a roller
pull,
coaster?
it's a roller coaster. It felt like one of those things where it's like, oh, this is supposed to make me think of Disneyland, I guess, right? The cart was going wee, and yeah, you get the air pushing the dwarves' lips back and making this gruesome face.
It looked
It was so bad.
terrifying.
It's a reason why everyone's memeing the crap out of it.
Yeah.
But
then your favorite scene they ruined, the little yodeling song.
oh,
thing.
the yodeling song.
It's
It
like
is
2
literally
seconds long, and it got blended into a weird love song.
Yes.
With like a love song filter.
here. I won't play this. I won't really play this sound, or maybe I should because it also sounds bad. These people have known each other for like 5 minutes.
Why do they like each other?
I forgot anyway, but we got one more video to show you later down. Okay,
So,
it's gold.
My question is, I've heard that some people had issues with the prince showing up in the beginning of the original animated one, and when he meets her, and they have this really cute song where he says that he has one song that he's been singing only for her, and then she kisses
I
him
guess
up
you
and
do need to
sends it
know a bit
down
of the
to him.
meta, how
That's
the prince was
cute.
supposed to be more involved, and how she ran away because she was embarrassed of being in rags.
So my question though
But
is,
that's again, that is meta information, I
does
guess.
the prince know her longer in the original than in this version?
They do interact more in this one.
Okay, that was.
I suppose so, but the interactions suck so bad. Like this, like a lot of modern movies, they have these classic scenes of if they removed them, nothing would change.
Oh, no.
Because Mr. Johnny Everyman, or whatever his name is,
Flynn Rider.
head
Hey,
thief man,
hey, no.
He's
Flynn
like
Rider's
Captain
he's what
Chief.
Flynn Rider's gonna be.
Captain
in every
Thief
big
Man,
table.
okay,
No,
the
don't
leader,
do that.
the guy she falls in love with, okay, he takes an arrow
Johnny,
for her.
go. Oh,
Not,
sorry.
I think isn't his name John or something?
Jonathan?
Jonathan, yeah. Okay, anyway, but like he takes an arrow for her, right? And Doc
Okay.
just fixes
Wait,
it.
where does the arrow? Why?
It hits because knights
guard
find them.
is
The guards
chasing
find
Snow
them.
White.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, again.
They
there's-
survived the nightmare forest.
Yes.
Well, they went around it or
Well, they
something.
didn't get chased by a huntsman into the woods.
Wait,
They-
the huntsman. Okay,
I mean,
guys.
he says like, "Go before I change my mind." It's like, oh,
Why did you
Wait, so
add?
you're
Why did
gonna
you change
kill
that
her?
line? It was like if she like dawdled too much, or if like he lost the strength of will or something, he would have just like been like, actually, you know what? I should just kill her, and just chucks his dagger into her back, and she goes dead.
well. So back to the thing of him getting the arrow, right? So that kind of leads into the one scene that I unironically like from the movie.
Okay.
So they're like, Doc, you're a doctor. You need to fix me. He's like, I'm not actually a doctor. Ah! And so, but he goes in and he does this stuff, and he like.
They don't
There's-
show any of
they
it, so
don't
we
show
don't know
any
what
of
he
it.
does.
But he comes out and he's like explaining what he did and all this like weird sort of like, oh, I got this stuff together and I made a thing, and he, so he's talking about all this stuff that he did, and he's saying it in a way like, oh, I tried everything I could. It was so sad and tragic, and then he walks out, and then he's like, oh, I thought he was dead. And it was
Like in a
really-
different movie, I would have enjoyed that a lot
It was.
more.
I thought it was a good joke. That made me.
Okay,
I
like-
was laughing during most of the movie.
Let us give
because
them the official
was-
good joke.
that
You
was
get a little gold star that will peel off in 5 minutes. Here you go, movie. You did one good joke.
How-
I'm just gonna say
it was
this:
like that
all,
Robin
all the
Hood,
costumes,
modern Robin
crap.
Hood thing you don't like.
Oh.
Like one thing I noticed is like one reason is that they all look like kind of cheap cosplay,
Okay.
right? Like, they're not dirty, they're not worn in or anything. They're just there, right?
Okay.
And yeah, Snow White's dress is just the worst. Whatever that yellow material is, it's like that weird curtain material, you know, like the weird lacy stuff. It looks plastic.
It's like satin vinyl or something.
Yeah, it's some weird plastic thing. You know, and yeah, it just sucks so bad. Like everything else. So yeah, it pisses me off so much because I had such a good time. Like, sure, we were laughing at things, but not because the movie was trying to make me laugh. We were laughing at how bad it was, and if I didn't have him with me, I probably wouldn't have been laughing. Like, this is a movie you cannot watch alone if you don't want to be just bored out of your mind. It is so boring.
I think it was hilarious.
Like, on its own merit, it sucks.
Okay, I have a question though.
Ask away.
So, she gets to the dwarves.
Oh yeah, we keep jumping around. I'm sorry.
She makes them clean the house that's not dirty.
Wait, no. So they do make a mess, right? So the next morning after
they
find
torment
her,
the crap out of Dobby. Not Dobby.
well, it was
Dopey.
kind of accidental though because
Yeah, but they laugh at him and they call him
a
a
bowl of
loser.
oatmeal falls on his head and everyone's like, "Oh, this wasn't going in your mouth, not in your head, stupid."
Oh, and Grumpy yells "Yippee-ki-yay" as he swings down the stairs to like.
Oh yeah, so they're having.
Herb
Oh, so
Stomp
let me set up
Bashful.
the scene for you, okay? Is the next morning, right? The dwarves are having breakfast, but for
Wait,
some
so-
reason,
I'm sorry.
okay. So Snow White is
Find her.
yeah, they find her,
They're
right?
like, oh my gosh, what are you doing on
And they
this?
talk to her, right?
Okay.
And we don't get any scene of her being like, "I'll sleep. You can sleep in the beds, and we'll sleep else. We'll be fine." Right? They don't have that scene. It kind of just changes to a different scene with like the queen, I think, and then it goes back to them, and it's like the next morning, I guess,
Oh,
right?
So they're all just sleeping.
No, we don't even see the wake up, right? So it's like breakfast time basically, because some of them are at the table doing breakfast stuff, right? For some reason, Grumpy is like using a hammer and nail on a banister,
Okay.
right? Like where the stairs are. And so he misses a nail, he hits his hand, right? And it causes him to go, ow. He throws, and so he chucks the hammer on accident because he was like, ow, and he loses the hammer, right? And it
Okay.
falls and smacks someone in the head.
Ow.
Don't worry,
And then
they're
the other
CG
dwarf across
and
the
the
table
other dwarf
catches
catches it, and then that dwarf gets mad at the dwarf that has the hammer because he thinks he hit him with it, even though 3 seconds ago he didn't have the hammer in his hand. And so they start, fighting each other with food. And so basically a partial food fight, and then, yeah, as I said, Grumpy he's just like, "Yippee-ki-yay!" and jumps off the banister and starts fighting one of the dwarves, right?
And Dopey eats a firefly.
Oh yes, and then for some reason, this entire scene, Dobby is playing with his firefly, and at one point it goes in his mouth and his cheeks glow, and I guess it's all right.
Then it flies away.
And yeah, it like nothing happened. Like
No soap, no suds, no scrub.
no, instead, like the whole and for some reason the legs just break and everything just goes everywhere, and yeah, a bowl of oatmeal flies up in the air, lands on Dopey's head, and all the other dwarves stop fighting, look at him, and they're like, "Ha! You look stupid." And it's like, oh, look at poor Dopey. Isn't everyone everyone's just mean to him? Like, in the original, everyone's laughing at everyone else's antics. Like, when Sneezy does something, when Sleepy or Bashful does something, the dwarves are laughing with each other, right? They're never laughing at someone, really, unless it's Grumpy getting washed, right?
Yeah, and then
But Grumpy
But no-
directly challenges them, so it's...
Yeah.
well, Dopey walks out, right? And then
Yeah, he's
Snow White
sad,
goes
and
out
Snowy
teaches
goes with
them
him.
how to whistle, and then they come back in, and that's when they whistle while they work.
Yes. So that's how they set up the whistling is Dopey's the one whistling, right? Because and the whistling sounds like crap, by the way. I don't know who they had to coach them on how to whistle, who was in the sound booth whistling. Maybe it was the
Well,
voice
his
actor.
sounded all right, but hers wasn't all that.
Oh yeah, her whistling was bad. It's like, "Hey, stick to singing, honey, because you can't whistle with crap."
You know, that...
Maybe she should be a voice actor.
Oh, she was in that Divorce Netflix animated.
Yeah, but
show.
I haven't seen that, so I can't judge her on that merit. Because I'm thinking, well, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's because her acting was so distractingly bad, I couldn't really, so I wasn't really focusing on her voice. And because, I guess her voice is passable, so I didn't really think about it. And again, her singing is passable, and it's all right for the most part, right?
Okay.
I wasn't impressed or anything. I've heard better singing from better Disney movies,
Yeah.
but I wasn't, cringing at her singing. Her singing was fine, and Gal Gadot singing is terrible, but luckily
Yeah,
she's
it's so funny. though.
her acting is so retarded that it's funny. Oh my,
So after they whistle while they work, what's the next thing that happens? Because is that when they meet the bandits?
The huntsman gives her an apple in the box, and he gets thrown in
gives
jail.
gives the queen.
Oh yeah, so you remember the box?
It doesn't have the heart of a pig. It has the.
It has the apple of a core. Wait,
The core of an apple.
no, it's just a normal apple.
And then the queen takes that and dips it in goo, and it looks awful. And then she's like,
Oh,
singing,
here, I got a picture of... So instead of having, like, the goo make the skull, right?
Oh, yeah?
For a second, they have it look like a Harry Potter 3 shrunken head.
Oh no.
multiple times.
Like, yeah, there's, like, lightning flashing, and it keeps going from the apple to this weird demon skull.
Oh, we skipped the whole
Oh gosh.
princess problem thing. We need to watch that thing from Shrek the Musical, because they do it way better in Shrek the Musical.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Dopey talks.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yes, Dopey can talk now.
He's the guy who's narrating the book. That's the spoiler.
Oh.
Yeah, so the narration at the beginning and end is voiced by Dopey for some
Yep.
freaking
And
reason.
then they go to the town and they start singing and they're like, oh, we're going to take on the evil queen. And then she goes up to the evil queen and the evil queen's like, oh, you want to kill me? Here's a dagger. You should kill me. And, like, she's holding
Snap
it. Like,
eyes,
she
now.
grabs her hand and shoves the knife and is like, kill
Oh, yes,
me.
so this is a diamond dagger. She
Go
can just make
on,
diamonds
kill
appear out of
her.
nowhere. She can also make flowers appear out of nowhere, too.
She also kills flowers, because flowers are useless, like apple pies.
Oh,
Yeah, she has,
no.
like, oh my god, like,
Why is she giving a diamond dagger to Snow White?
Because she
Because
wants
she
Snow White
wants-
to kill her in front of everyone. Actually, so it was dumb, but I get the idea behind it. It's like, oh, you can just like you're not gonna kill me in front of the people that you like because like the idea is that
You don't wanna
they
be
would
as
see
bad
you
as
a-
me.
Well, yeah, almost. But then it's like I don't know. I feel like these people are following you, and they I don't think they would have been too upset if you ran her through with it.
well, I guess it would have been unnecessarily violent. I don't know.
Yeah, and then she like takes it back and then tells the guards to kill her, and then Ezra Miller walks up and
Oh yeah, she gives so she's like, no, I can't do it, and so the queen's like, okay, fine. She takes a dagger, gives it to a random guard
And
that
then-
looks roughly like Ezra Miller. His name is Paul, by the way.
Okay.
Paul. My name
Paul
is
Miller?
Paul. Yeah, and then
Paul me.
oh gosh, what was it? Yeah, so she remembers their names and they don't want to kill her, but yeah, she's like, "Oh, kill her in front of them," and it's like, okay.
Yeah, and then after
Cool.
that,
The dwarf shoots the knife and it explodes.
yeah, no. So basically, so Gal Gadot, the
Evil
witch,
queen.
the evil witch queen, the witch king of Agamar, the witch
Well, that's
queen.
what she turns
She
into
grabs.
at the
She
end.
gets pissed off at the. She gets pissed off at the guards for not killing her because Snow White remember their names. She grabs a dagger and is about to stab her, and that's when out of nowhere the dwarf with a crossbow, because they did act. That's actually the best setup in this movie is him
No, it isn't.
talking about the crossbow constantly, right? And then he sees one on the wall and grabs it, and he's like, "Hey, can't wait to use this."
He
and he
steals someone's crossbow.
Well,
It's just
from
on the wall.
armory, they're breaking
Yeah,
in to
the-
overthrow
they
the
break
tyrannical
in.
government.
I mean, he's also a thief, so I suppose.
Yeah, so but he has a crossbow, and it's I don't know what they did with those crossbows, so they look like crap.
Yeah,
Anyway,
the
but
only I disagree.
but yeah,
I
he
think-
shoots the diamond dagger out of her hand, and for some reason, when it lands on the ground, like so, it like lands point down in the ground, right? It sticks in it,
Okay.
and then it just crumbles away into ash.
it gets Thanos.
Yes, it gets Thanos snapped for no reason.
No.
Like I guess they were trying to be like, oh look, because see, she did that to the flowers. She made them. She snapped them away.
Yeah, she likes
Bec-
killing flowers and saying that flowers are useless.
Yeah, because since they don't last, but like diamonds last forever, even though
Even though it
technically
turns
they
into
don't.
ash,
So I guess it's
but, yeah.
symbolic that the diamond dagger becomes nothing, just like the queen. And yeah, so after all this, the queen just gets mad and goes to the mirror and is like, "Hey, you suck." And the mirror's like,
No, Snow White
nah,
is more
I
beautiful
just
than
decided
you.
to change how I
Your beauty is only skin deep, but her beauty
Yeah, so
comes
so
from
you're
within.
physically beautiful,
You
I
will
guess,
always
but
be
she's
less
fair
than she.
because reasons.
And then she's like, liar! And she smashes the mirror and it
I
explodes
have it.
in her face and it like
I
sucks
can
her
show you.
into it. And there was some music is crap.
Snow White, beauty comes from deep within, and so my queen, at last you see, should always be more fair than thee.
So she, it's basically the Marvel. She kills herself. These villains can't get defeated normally, so they get. Yeah, he's just like mocking me still.
She becomes an ash monster.
Yeah, the witch queen of
Harry Potter touched her. The mirror fixes itself, and it acts like a normal mirror for the rest of the time, I guess. We don't know if it still works or
Well,
not.
so I'm kind of joking, right? It's like it reforms, and then like the mirror's like, please don't ask me every single day if you're more beautiful.
Oh yeah, they say that. They're like, oh, she asked the mirror every day who was fairest, and it's like, really? Did you really need to ask the mirror every day? Like, I know we see the queen do it in the cartoon, but I don't know.
I don't think the cartoon queen did it every day. It seems like a more of an occasional thing.
Yeah, it seemed more like,
She asked it often, and as long as it said she was fairest, Snow White was safe.
Yeah.
And then it opens with her asking and him saying, there is one more fair than thee.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
takes
it's
start.
so like, but yeah, she turns into a spooky monster and tries to grab Snow White, but gets sucked into the mirror void.
That's so that she could come back in the sequel, Snow White and the Huntsman and the Dopey.
Snow White and Dopey.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what it was. I mean, Dopey
oh
was
yeah,
the main
like
dwarf
so the
rather than
dwarves are
Dopey.
there during the whole diamond dagger scene, right?
Oh.
So
They just sort
after-
of stand in the doorway and
Yeah,
look
so like
menacingly at the
like
queen,
Dobie
and she's
whistles
like,
at her
"Oh,
at the
no."
queen. He's like, and he's like, and the dwarves are like, yeah, we're standing here, and they do nothing. They did nothing.
Well, that's sad.
You can remove the dwarves from that scene, and nothing would change. The only dwarf you can't remove is the crossbow dwarf.
Honestly, you could remove most of the dwarfs from like the whole movie, and it wouldn't have changed
Oh
dramatically.
yes, Bashful. We didn't see anything after the only time he was mentioned directly was during their stupid hi ho song, which they changed that one obviously, and so it sucks.
It doesn't suck because they changed it. It sucks because they made it worse.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Well,
I
so
enjoyed
again-
watching it. It was very funny. I laughed a ton. I don't think I'd recommend spending money on it, and it doesn't seem like a whole lot of other people
No,
recommend that
don't
either.
watch this ever. Okay, it's fell into the box office for a reason.
If you have the chance to watch it for free, it is a funny watch with friends. I laughed a lot, and it was amusing.
Yeah, but don't watch it because you want a good movie, okay? Because you will just be disappointed for the entire hour and so many minutes. Like, it felt so long. It was such a drag.
But you had fun.
Yes, I had fun because I was laughing at it with someone else. Again, if you try to watch this by yourself, you will be depressed and bored out of your mind.
I thought it was fun.
It is... Well, you can't say that after I say that.
Okay, well, how are we supposed to end this? I thought it was funny. You thought it was crap. We both thought it was crap.
We're supposed to
0
end it with
out
the
of
dwarf
0.
going... "Rah!"